always rather interesting because the comments that are on here, I mean, the tweet hasn't been out that long. So it's a lot of people that are actually following the WNBA on this tweet. So wow. Wow. So here it is, as we always cover. International Transgender Day of Visibility. A completely
The WNBA posted a tweet marking International Transgender Day of Visibility, and for what appears to be the fourth or fifth consecutive year, the comment section turned into an absolute war zone almost immediately. The reactions came fast and heavy, and the ratio of negative to positive responses was running at roughly 9-1 within hours of the post going live. The replies covered a wide range of frustration.
Manufactured holiday, along with so many others these days. And my goodness, as always, sports fans did not disappoint. They did not. Here we go. CDS Uncensored. That's my boys, CDS Sports Podcast. If you really want to embrace the visibility part, you should list the players in the league so we can see them.
One commenter pointed out that if the league truly wanted to embrace visibility, it should start by making its own players more visible to a broader audience, calling the post an act of cowardice for sidestepping that issue entirely. Others went straight at the core debate, arguing that biological men competing in women's sports undermines everything female athletes have spent decades building. Several people noted the timing, pointing out that the post dropped during Holy Week, which added another layer of tension to an already combustible reaction.
So we can see them. Shame on you for being cowards. Damn. Shots fired. Fever Stan, effing ridiculous. Get off this filth. Stop supporting mental illness. Ooh, that's not a thing. Oh, God. Nope. You're a bit early for
Megan Rapinoe got pulled into the conversation as well. Multiple replies brought up the fact that she has been vocal about transgender inclusion in women's sports throughout her career, but that her tune shifted noticeably once she retired and no longer had to compete against anyone. That contrast was not lost on people watching the thread develop.
You're a bit early for April Fools. Wow. Let that speak for itself right there. Yeah. Wow. Man, it is extra cooking in here. It's not April Fool's Day yet. This has to be a joke. My God, men taking spots of your athletes, and you celebrate this.
Brittany Griner came up more than once, with fans questioning exactly how many transgender athletes the league currently has or would be willing to roster. The broader point being made was that the organizations most enthusiastic about these public statements are rarely the ones absorbing the consequences directly. Several commenters noted they would be watching closely to see what the WNBA chooses to post on Easter Sunday, framing it as a test of consistency.
My God, men taking spots of your athletes, and you celebrate this. Absolutely demented. Women's sports can be great, but this BS turns most off. Yeah, so much for the feminist movement? Question mark? I mean, you turned into regular Megan Rapinoe's real fast. As soon as you retired, women can come play, men can come play in soccer. Women's soccer, oh, that got thrown out there real quick. Wait a minute, Megan, you retired now that you don't have to play against.
The general sentiment was that a league willing to publish this during one religious observance period would likely stay silent during another, and fans made clear they were paying attention. The financial dimension came up repeatedly as well. The WNBA has not turned a profit in the vast majority of its existence and remains subsidized by the NBA.
Play against a man in women's soccer, yeah. Yeah. Ruthless. Let's just do it. How many trannies besides Brittany Griner do you have or would allow in your league? Wow. You demons can F off. It's Holy Week.
Critics argued that alienating the core sports audience with political content is a direct contributor to that reality, and that the league's continued struggles are at least partially self-inflicted. With DEI initiatives facing mounting pushback across corporate America, some observers found it notable that the WNBA was doubling down on this type of messaging rather than pulling back. The Post did have defenders, but they were heavily outnumbered.
It's Holy Week. I really hope Jaden Ivey pulls the ultimate FU, comes back as a woman to the WNBA. Woo! Yeah. Yeah. Are you serious? Women's sports are for women, period. Women have fought so hard for their space. Keep men out of women's sports. Why is this a hard concept? What a freaking slap in the face for the WNBA.
For every reply expressing support, roughly 9 others pushed back with varying degrees of intensity. The comment section remained open at the time, and the volume of responses was still climbing. A starting 5 has been released to mark the 25th anniversary of the McDonald's All-American Game, and predictably, the conversation around it has already spiraled.
Concept. What a freaking slap in the face for the WNBA to post this. This person getting scared. Turn off the comments. Are you insane? Oh, let the men play in the WNBA while claiming to be women. You'd hate this shit. But y'all wouldn't let a trans woman play for you. Laugh out loud. Oh, man. By the way, people are already.
Caitlin Clark's inclusion is the main flashpoint, but stepping back and looking at the list objectively, the case for her being there is pretty straightforward. Over the last 25 years, which puts the window at 2001 onwards, meaning players like Sue Bird and Teresa Weatherspoon fall just outside it, Caitlin Clark is arguably the most hyped guard prospect to come out of high school in that entire span. That's not a particularly controversial position when the actual history is examined honestly.
I think the best over the last 25 years prospects coming out of high school, Brittany Griner has to be in there. As much as Aja Wilson was the number one recruit, like Aja Wilson also wasn't Candace Parker level. Let's be very clear. Like if it was hype out of high school hype, how they played in the McDonald's All-American Game, there's Paige Beckers, Candace Parker obviously in it, Maya Moore. You can probably put Maya Moore in there.
The full starting 5 features Caitlin Clark, Maya Moore, Elena Deli-Dunn, Candace Parker, and Brittany Griner. And purely as a basketball unit, this might genuinely be the greatest collection of high school prospects ever assembled on paper. The fit is remarkable.
You can probably put Maya Moore in there. Elena Deli-Dunn, no. Aja, maybe? Or no. Candace Parker, definitely. But Griner has to be in there. Juju's probably in there in terms of high school hype. Paige is in there. And other number one recruits were ultra hype. Maybe Stewie in high school. But like Stewie was seen as the better prospect in Aja at that time. Aja just, in fairness, as a pro, really improved.
Candace Parker needs no explanation. She's one of the best to ever do it, full stop. Maya Moore was generational coming out of high school. Brittany Griner arrived with the kind of buzz typically reserved for once-in-a-decade talents.
Pro. Really improved. Really, really improved. Like Aja Wilson, her game, like she couldn't shoot at all and became one of the best. She was nearly 50, 40, 90. She was nearly 50, 40, 90. But obviously, if you guys don't know, this is going to cause so much BS.
And then there's Elena Deli-Dunn, a 6'5" wing who could shoot, pass, and defend at an elite level. Deli-Dunn in particular deserves more recognition in these conversations. Her rookie season put her visibly ahead of where Griner was at the same stage, despite Griner being the one expected to walk in and compete for MVP honors immediately.
On social media, and you just know it is. Every ranking that doesn't say Caitlin Clark is the second coming of the devil causes all this commotion. Like, it's one person's ranking as well, which is hilarious. It is one person's ranking. But you know, it's going to cause all of this. Albeit, like, if we're talking pure fit, pure.
Deldone went on to win the league MVP award twice, shot 50, 40, 90 inches multiple seasons, and won a championship in 2019. A finals where the MVP actually went to a reserve player coming off the bench, which tells you something about how deep that team was. The fact that chronic health issues cut into her peak years makes it genuinely frustrating to think about what a full healthy run could have looked like in today's environment, where viewership and attention are at an all-time high. On the question of Aja Wilson, she was the top recruit in her class, but the pre-draft hype around her didn't quite reach Candace Parker territory.
Pure fit. This might be the greatest starting five of all time. Because, okay, yeah, cool. Caitlin Clark, maybe not the greatest defender in the world, but you've got Maya Moore, you've got Deladon, a 6'5" shooting wing, who, like, I would have loved to have seen Elena Deladon in some way healthy.
What she did do, however, is develop into something arguably better than anyone anticipated. A player who had serious shooting limitations early in her career came within touching distance of 5'0", 4'0", 9'0", which is a level of improvement that doesn't happen often at the professional level. The broader context here is also worth noting.
Wing, who, like, I would have loved to have seen Elena Deladon in some way healthy, play in this modern era where people are watching the games. I would have loved to have seen that. Elena Deladon was so good, like, I remember when I used to watch quite a lot, like, I remember I watched quite a bit of Elaine Deladon's rookie season, and I was like, she was levels ahead as a rookie of Brittany Griner, who was expected to come in and be an MVP candidate year one. Elena Deladon was levels ahead. Elena Deladon was one of the best players in the league for years and years and years. Like,
The standard of women's basketball as a whole has been rising sharply, and it's been accelerating. Each incoming college class seems to arrive better prepared than the one before it. The 2024 draft class was widely considered exceptional, and by most measures, the 2025 class matched or exceeded it.
One of the best players in the league for years and years and years. Like, she averaged 50, 40, 90 twice. Is a two-time league MVP. Won a title while winning an MVP in 2019. Albeit the finals MVP of that title was someone coming off the bench, Emma Messiman. But yeah, it's a mad one. Candace Parker, again, is Candace Parker. One of the greatest ever. And obviously, like, if you want to go back in time at the Cynthia Coopers of the world and stuff.
The 2026 group looks like a slight dip, but 2027 is shaping up to be special. And the current high school crop players who grew up entirely inside the modern boom period looks genuinely extraordinary. The expectation is that 5 or 6 years from now, the WNBA will be flooded with an unusually talented young generation, making an already improving league even more competitive. As for the ranking itself, it's one person's assessment.
Yeah, obviously, especially in the women's game, it was as good as they were. The game was different. The game was different. Like, a lot of these players didn't come up in an era where there was as much respect on not only women's basketball, women's sports as now. And to be honest, like, if we're being real, the actual, like, increase in ability of female basketball players, outside of the tippity top level, like, obviously the Maya Moores, Elena Deladon, Candace Parker's dominating every era, but as a whole,
whether Clark belongs there or not, the argument for her inclusion holds up. She's by a meaningful margin the top guard prospect from this 2-5-year window. The reaction to her presence on any list tends to follow a familiar pattern, and this will be no different once the conversation reaches people who weren't watching the McDonald's All-American game to begin with.